Well, how do we want to talk about this?
So the idea for our piece, we got together at the end of our fall semester, and we kind of just came at each other with a few ideas. We talked about how we really didn't want a storyline in our piece, how we wanted to be a little different and kind of push our boundaries with not sticking to a cohesive storyline. And we also talked about how some topics are very overdone, so we were interested in doing something a little different.
I think we wanted to work with something more abstract throughout our work. We didn't want a work that went ahead and told you the story right away. We wanted to have the audience have their own view on our work, have their own opinion, and have their own belief in what they were seeing, and let it speak to them directly in their own way instead of how we viewed things and how we understood a certain topic. And that's how the topic of social anxiety came along, something that we both deal with as well. So we were both able to talk about how we deal with it differently, and how we view it and how it affects us in so many different ways.
From there, we kind of went ahead and did some research, and I think a lot of our findings were kind of the symptoms that go along with social anxiety. And from there, we kind of figured out this segmenting between how the body will physically react during a anxiety attack, and then how like the mind is completely different than the body during an attack. We took that idea and ran.
I think one of the main things was keeping this abstract feel and having everyone relate to what was going on stage. For costumes, especially we wanted to have a face mask over our dancers because we wanted it to be representing just bodies, just humans. We didn't want to represent just one person or one type of symptom, and we didn't want people to just relate to one dancer. We wanted people to relate to the dance group as a dance group instead of one person at a time, or the soloist, or have these almost given characters to our dancers. That was one of the things we wanted to stay away from.
Yeah, we definitely wanted the anonymous nature of the dancers to kind of embody what anxiety is in general, and then kind of prevent people from like trying to figure out like, oh, like what's the relationship between the dancers, and mostly to just be like, I feel like I am a part of this anxiety attack that's happening on stage. So we really wanted to like embody and engulf the audience all to.
For costumes, one of the things we decided to do was the mask as well as monochromatic colors to keep it more. I don't know why we picked those colors actually. Why did we decide that? I don't know, it looked really cool on the picture we saw.
Yeah. That was pretty much it. It just looked cool, and we had like the idea of like kind of baggier clothes, so things wouldn't be so like form-fitting, to kind of keep with that idea of non-gendered bodies on a stage.
Perfectly said. One of the absolute favorite parts of mine of the piece is the beginning, because it's almost it's something my dad always talks to me about, working with the five senses in every piece that you work with, and the beginning for me is such an like it opens in such a strong way where the audience is like, whoa, what's happening, why are they breathing so hard, or what is going on, and then once the piece develops, it kind of gives it that background as to why the beginning of the piece is this clump breathing in and out and expanding, and how our body reacts, and then following along how the mind reacts, as Lindsay was stating.
Right. And I think another really like great thing that we kind of talked about and fleshed out, especially with like the digital worlds people, and what we were planning on doing with the lighting and everything, it definitely would have taken you on a journey from like the start of an anxiety attack, the body symptoms, and then transitioning into like the climax of the whole thing, everything taking over, and then what the mind is thinking. We had a lot of interesting light cues planned that would have been really cool, but
yeah, I think on stage we wanted to, for the body part, I always envisioned almost like a this what we were calling a hospital field, where colors were bland, very white, very
like very stark hospital
feel. Yes.
Almost like claustrophobic with like how bright it was. That's what we were going for.
Yeah, and then for the mind, we wanted to add more color and more abstract, more different lines in the background, squiggly lines, because that's almost how the brain or the mind feels when you're having an anxiety attack. There's so much going on that you really don't understand how to break it apart, and that was one of the things that we wanted to do on stage as well.
Then I guess one of my favorite parts was during Mella's solo, where a group of dancers comes in and kind of surrounds her, and we called it the shadow people part, because it was kind of that feeling of when things start to build up, when you're having an anxiety attack, you can just feel like everything's around you and surrounding you and like intoxicating you almost. So we definitely wanted to capture that with the lights and having one person like stationary and then everyone else around them.
I also like thinking like in the city, when you're in New York City or something, there's so many people. That was one of the things that I thought about a lot, was how people go through these social anxieties out when they're socializing, and people that are around you don't really notice that you might be going through it, or that your body might be feeling a certain way, and it's just like a constant just moving, and people don't even really pay attention to each other nowadays either. We just kind of keep going, mind your own business. That was always the thing.
Kind of turn that blind eye to what's happening around. I enjoyed working with you so much. We made a bomb piece!
And we can show it!
I am Lindsay Jolly.
I am Maria Garcia.
And together we choreographed the piece Anxiety, the Mind versus the Body, a Study.